I tell you what, he needs a point for taking her glasses off. Did you see that?
Singer Kevin Welsh once said, "There'll be 2 dates on your tombstone, and all your friends will read them, but all that's going to matter is that little dash between them." So with that in mind, consider the little dash between your dates. And while considering that dash, it's very poignant to remember how incredibly small and short that dash actually is. But despite its shortness and length, that dash doesn't have to be insignificant and meaningless. And forget all the usual excuses about being too busy, too tired, blah blah blah. Both Carrie and I work full time, and I actually work shifts, meaning I'm often working nights and weekends. However, and it does take a little planning, I look for the bike rallies I'd like to go to and book my time off well in advance, so it is possible to work hard and play hard. So just like last year, Carrie, Dolly and I took the back roads from Essex to Lincolnshire and took our time on the 100-mile or so route, which took us just over 3 hours.
For
Kev, the organiser, had asked if I would stand in as official photographer, as unlike last year there wasn't a dedicated photographer. Of course I said yes, especially as I was planning to video most of the rally anyway. And let's face it, now I had a valid excuse to wander around with a couple of cameras and make a pest of myself. While I made a pest of myself, Carrie popped to the local supermarket to stock up on supplies. And with Dolly's box in the back of my Sportster, it made sense for her to use that rather than her own bike. Now this was the first time she'd rode my bike, and while she loved the power from the engine upgrade, she did find the ape hangers to be an acquired taste. Now, it's impossible to ever accurately put into words how relaxed and chilled the atmosphere is at these rallies. I know I say it repeatedly, but there really is no pressure whatsoever in anyone. You can participate as much or as little as you want. You can watch the live music, catch up with old friends, or even just put your feet up and watch a spectacular sunset. As for Carrie and myself, we were content just to wander around checking out the bikes and chatting with fellow rally goers. And Dolly, sassy as ever, she makes friends wherever she goes. As soon as you put the Harley Davidson badge in something, it falls apart.
But you really have got the answer of Harley.
One of the best elements of the Scruffy Puppy Rally is the custom bike show that's held on Saturday afternoon. Now, bike shows are quite often highly subjective, and while it's always nice to see highly polished, chromed, and in some cases totally unrideable machines on display, the refreshing thing to see, well from my point of view anyway, is that most, if not all of the custom bikes and trikes on display at Scruffy Puppy were working machines that had been ridden to the rally. Hats off to everyone who took the time to enter the machines in the show. There really were some fantastic customs, and I certainly didn't envy the judges who had a tough task to pick the winners. And here's the thing, they're not just prizes for the best custom bikes and trikes. They're also trophies for furthest travelled male and female, best club turnout, and of course, being a rally that promotes and raises money for a dog rescue charity, there's a trophy for the dog that's travelled the furthest on a bike or trike. And would you believe it? Our little Dolly won for the second year running, having ridden 106 miles each way on the back of my bike.
Well, as you know, we're all here to raise money for the dogs, so this is the dogs furthest travelled. And for the second year running, it's Dolly, who has travelled 106 miles on the back of a motorcycle. Well done, Dolly. Hey, what?
We'll have Dolly in the photo.
Get Dolly in. Well, hello, Dolly. It's hello, Dolly.
106 miles traveled today. Look at that. What a great hound.
And after the serious matter of trophies, the real fun began. And I've heard of the 40-year-old virgin, and I don't want to pass any judgment on our rally virgins. However, let's just say that milestone was in the rear-view mirror. As with everything in life, there's no point taking anything too seriously. And fair play to both our rally virgins for being excellent sports. Once the welcomes were out of the way, the really serious and highly competitive silly games began. And a note to myself for next year, keep my motorcycle helmet handy. After the games, there was another evening of live music. After listening to the bands for a while, Carrie, Dolly and I made some dinner and chilled. And what a memorable evening it was, relaxing with a few drinks, the band playing in the background, and enjoying chatting to a fellow army veteran. And in my view, these are the experiences I take with me and make me yearn for the next rally. I say it in every video, and I make no apology for saying it again. If you've never been to a bike rally, then you should make it a goal to attend at least one, because I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Oh my god, I remember that, yeah.
Everybody else next to you. It's never fun packing up and heading home, especially from such an excellent rally. However, all good things have to come to an end. So after loading up the bikes and saying our goodbyes, it was time for the ride home. And despite an overcast start, once again we got lucky with the weather and we ended up having a dry ride.
Can't wait for the weekend. Gonna dive off the deep end. No, I don't need a reason, lose control. Pour me a glass, I toss it back. Forget responsibility. It's hard to be 23 and don't know what's in front of me. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another. Plus it's better that wheels will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another. Plus it's better that wheels will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Wake up, it's a Monday morning. Life really shouldn't be so boring. Nothing is really that important. Just let go. Pour me a glass, I toss it back. Forgetting my reality. It's hard to be.
About halfway through our journey, we rode through the town of Newmarket. And it was here that an incident happened that brought home how life is always unpredictable. And the difference between good and bad luck is often judged by inches and nothing more.
Fucking idiot! You just hit my bike.
Thanks to our intercom system, Carrie was able to tell me what had happened, and after checking she hadn't been physically hurt, I decided to make sure I got footage of the driver's registration. At the time, neither of us knew if there had been any damage to her bike, and I certainly wasn't prepared to let such an example of impatience, poor judgment and inconsideration slide. And it wasn't so much that I set off in pursuit of the offending vehicle, it just so happened that it was heading in the same direction as we were. It was only when I caught up and pulled alongside the vehicle that I saw it was being driven by an elderly male. And despite me sounding my horn and pointing for him to pull over, he was totally oblivious to my presence. So I pulled in front and didn't so much force him to stop. Instead, I gradually slowed to bring us all to a stop. And before anyone reminds me that I have no authority to stop a vehicle, I pointed out that he was under no obligation to stop and could have pulled around me. Now, and it's due to the driver's age, I decided to hold back. There's absolutely no point throwing fuel onto an already burning fire. And it's testament to Carrie, who, let's not forget, was actually the victim here, that she kept calm.
Excuse me? You hit my bike. When you went round me, you hit my bike. You hit it with your wing mirror.
That's probably why you ain't got a bloody
That's
wing
why-
mirror.
Go on.
You did, and you're on camera as well, so if there is any damage, you'll be getting a fine. But if you're gonna, accidents happen, but you need to stop. Alright, you need to stop.
What did annoy me though was the denial, the refusal to accept responsibility, despite the incident being captured on multiple cameras. Then there was a lack of an apology or concern about the person he had collided with. And I want to point out that it's only due to the driver's age that I've decided to hide his identity. Fortunately, other than a red paint scuff on Carrie's brake lever, there was no damage. And the paint scuff obviously proves contact, and based on the multiple dents, scratches and missing wing mirror fascia, it clearly wasn't the first time he had experienced a lack of judgment. The incident didn't detract from what was a pleasant ride. In fact, once we rode away, we both laughed about it. However, it is a major concern that if he'd only been an inch or so closer, he likely would have knocked Carrie off, and with a fully loaded bike, it's highly likely she would have suffered injury. Now I considered reporting the matter. However, it was Carrie who pointed out that there was little point. A fine or points would have made little difference to his poor driving, and sadly, it seems only a matter of time before he causes someone a serious injury or worse. And until we in this country can actually grow enough backbone to actually have a sensible conversation about age and driving ability, the risk will still remain. And I want to point out that it's worth noting a few months earlier I had to pay for a private medical that included a sight test to keep my LGV and PCV categories in my driving licence. As I've already said, the incident was forgotten almost immediately and we enjoyed the rest of the ride home. Finally, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Kev and the other organisers for putting on such a great rally, and we're both looking forward to next year's rally. And thanks to all of you for watching. Until next time folks, ride often and ride safe.